live. I think it's just a lag. So
Okay.
We'll continue to work out technical issues. So, all right, this is our second strategy session. Our first one was really the goal for the week, and I think probably the cadence of these will be like Monday or whenever we typically have these. There'll be a big planning session, and the rest of the week will be the follow-up to that. Again, I don't normally do that specifically with my clients. I usually do a once-a-week strategy session, a little bit longer, 1 hour. But with my wife, I have the privilege of being able to do a check-in every day. So we are streaming that. You can follow along if you are interested in building up a business as a service-based solopreneur, or if you're interested in what coaching is like, even though this is a little bit non-traditional, you can get some of that feel. So,
And if you're interested in communication and interacting with people globally in English, that is something that I can help you with. So always feel free to subscribe and contact us and see how we can help you out.
Yeah. Actually, do you have a website, or how do you want people
I do,
to find you?
yes. So megsorensenconsulting.com is my website, and we'll have a link to that below once we post this officially. And you can find me there. It's got all of my contact information, as well as a little bit about me and some of the projects that I've worked on.
All right. So yesterday we were really talking about how you do have clients, but filling out your client's base at the rate that you want will take a lot of client acquisition. You had looked at reaching out through global HR as a potential avenue for getting in contact with Japanese or other English as a second language execs. But one avenue where you have gotten some of your current clients was a Japanese entrepreneur group. So we're talking about scaling that. The follow-ups were, one, there was a meeting actually to promote yourself in your current group. How did that go?
It went well. So I spoke for like a half hour about, I could talk about whatever I wanted to. And so my focus was on helping people understand kind of the ways to get past that disconnect of where they are and where they want to be, and how so many people that I've worked with in the past, they see, this idea of communicating in English or communicating globally as unattainable because they struggled in school with their English classes, and helping them to understand that school English and life English are two very different things, but also just helping them to be open to those possibilities and everything that can happen with that. So I did it all in Japanese. It was definitely not perfect, but that's also one of the things that I am okay with, because I want them to know that, look, if you can understand me in my imperfect Japanese, I can understand your imperfect English. And I can help you figure out what matters and what doesn't. And so it was a really good session, had some good questions afterwards, had a really good introduction. And so today I need to follow up on a lot of that. Yeah. So one of the things with this group, it's kind of a little taboo to post prices and things like that, although I was able to kind of, mention the things that I do. So what I'm going to do now is, on my own personal stuff where I'm connected with a lot of these people, post that information and request that people send it out. And as I say that, like, I'm feeling like, oh, I hate asking for people to do stuff. Yeah. Right? There's that internal.
We'll get to that. I think there's some framing around that we could work on, but that's going to be a challenge. So as of yet, you haven't actually had any conversations with potential clients as a result of that?
No, not yet. But I've had messages of people, just talking and saying thank you and other things like that. But again, not yet.
Yeah, that would be something to track, right? Like if a week later that you don't have any conversations, right? Like, so there's different numbers you can track, right? You can track how many clients you got from an event like that, and that would be nice. If you knew you get like one client on average from speaking to 300 people, then you can cut, make that a numbers game. But you would at least, sometimes that doesn't happen, especially in early phases where you're trying things out. So you would at least want to track how many people like you actually talk to about your services with it, right? And kind of have a funnel. You have like the people you present to, the people you have a conversation with about your business, and the people who actually become your clients.
That makes sense.
That would be something to track. Another follow-up is, did you talk to anyone about how to present yourself in the group outside of like, once a year big special pushes.
Yeah, not yet. I would have talked with Yukiko, but she was in a meeting yesterday, and so she was in the room, but not really in the room. And so I didn't want to bug her.
Okay.
She's a very busy person. But that will be on my list of things to do today because, yeah.
All right. And so for my follow-up, I volunteered to look into groups a little bit. We have a spreadsheet here. I'm not going to throw that up on the screen. But there are some groups from LinkedIn. There's a group of 5,000 members in Disrupting Japan, led by the head of startups for Japan for Google. And then there's a network of entrepreneur support that has part of its title. I could read like the phonetic business network part, but the first part I can't.
It means it's basically like entrepreneurial skill networking.
Right. Well, and so that's very similar to what you're looking at in your current group. Your current group is 10,000, right?
Yes.
And you have 2 clients from your current group.
I have had 3 clients from there, but again, that's not advertising anything at all.
So 3 clients. So like, again, it's just like the numbers game, right?
Yeah.
If we wanted to scale up your clients just by finding more groups, if you get like 1 for every 3,000, then you'll get like 3 more clients from this. How many clients do you from like these 10,000, like these 2 groups together that are as big as the group you're in. So how many clients would be ideal?
Oh gosh. I'm going to say 10 to 20.
Okay, 10 to 20. So, if we found, so these 2 groups are another 10K. If we found another 10K's worth of entrepreneurs, then you could get in that 10 range. Okay. Are the clients you've gotten from your current group at the price level you'd like to be?
One of them is in there. The other one was not. I gave her a discount. But we also only meet for half hours during kind of like times that nobody else is very interested in taking. Yeah. So it was a win-win for both of us.
Sure. Well, is it the hourly rate, I guess? If you're only meeting for half an hour, right? You can charge half the price and still be the same hourly rate?
Well, no, it's a little bit less.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, well, and that's something to factor in, right? Like if you want to scale up to 20 at a higher rate, you'd actually probably need to get, fill up your schedule so that new openings you can charge more for as they go. Like that's typically how service businesses go.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I say 10 to 20 because with all of this, I kind of have 2 rates, right? So I have my rate for the casual, easy, conversation, simple stuff. I don't have to do a lot of preparation for it outside. I just show up and we talk and it happens naturally. And then I've got my more executive level where I'm doing all kinds of stuff outside of our sessions where I'm finding materials for them. I'm helping put together lists for them so that they don't have to worry about it. They've got everything there and it's very personalized for their goals and the ways that they learn best. And so that rate obviously is higher because it requires a lot of outside work. And I don't currently have any clients at that one right now, but that's kind of my goal is to get that one.
To go for that. Got it. So yeah, and you have worked with those clients in the past. Again, a lot of this is establishing a regular stream. So, all right. So yeah, if we're just doing like the same approach that you're taking right now, then to get So you need 20 clients of the kinds you currently have, right? Because that's the current results you're getting, right? Yeah. So that we would need, and you have 3, so you need entrepreneur groups of 70,000.
Woo!
Right? And like, so you need 7 of the groups that you're currently in, and then theoretically, right, assuming everything's equal and you're putting the same that a certain amount of effort in to get those 3 people, then you would have to put the same amount of effort into each of those 7 groups as you're putting into the global Kyokoku.
Okay.
Kyoku, sorry for murdering that.
No, it's fine. You can say Global Republic.
Global Republic. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, okay. So if that sounds not particularly feasible, then what?
So, so that's the angle of just like scaling up what you're doing, right? And like playing by the numbers, right? Okay. And so that leans into what you're doing with and the follow-up to do with the leaders is how else can I promote myself?
Okay.
You need to find more effective ways of promoting yourself, right? So that you're getting more than one client and 3,000 per group or whatever. And so like, I hope that just as a frame, as a numbers game, is showing you like, like that is why this matters to be able to be more effective and not just do more.
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense. And it's nice to be able to frame it that way because, you know, it's one of those things, if you build it, they will come kind of a thing. But that, but if you keep building it the same way and not letting people know in ways that are more effective, then
it's difficult because like there is a certain amount of regular effort required to be an entrepreneur that is difficult, and I've experienced that in my different iterations of trying things in YouTube. I very much am the other side of things. I will not repeat something if I don't see results, which it can be just as toxic to being an entrepreneur because I change stuff too much to get good at it. But my version of that, at least for YouTube, is like I keep coming back and trying something new to see what works. So I don't stick with one formula for very long, but I haven't given up wholesale on YouTube. And so I think it's that trying different things to see what gets results. And that's assuming that like all groups are equal and that the things you learn in this group will apply to another one. I think you will find, as you find a few more groups, that, you know, some of them might be more conducive. Like it might be more easy to have some of these conversations in a more written medium versus an auditory medium. Like people who want help talking and feel less comfortable about it may not be very active in an audio-based platform. So it could be, for instance, like a LinkedIn group is much more open to that.
So when you found these groups, the Disrupting Japan and Network for Entrepreneur Support in Japan, that I think is actually really ideal and much more where I'm going to be able to find these people because, you know, Global Republic is, you know, they're generally kind of older. So between like, you know, 50s and 70s, you know, 50s, 60s, something like that. It's just an older demographic because they're the people who have the time to spend on, you know, this extra community. They don't have little kids at home. They don't have, you know, really, really busy jobs they have to go to every day. Some of them are retired or they can do it, you know, more in their off time. So, you know, just looking at the reasonings for learning English, for this global communication, something like this that you found yesterday is going to be so much more useful, I think, for finding the clients. Whereas they've helped me kind of hone my message and figure out my offerings. And so then I can take that to these groups and hopefully be effective. Yeah,
and that is the game. Like always just learning a little bit, reflecting what worked or, you know, what has helped, and then iterate in the next group. Do market research, and also like reach out to the organizers of the groups and ask like, what do your members need? And learning from those, you know, before trying to promote your stuff. Really work with that's what I've learned is like work with the group admins. Help them do their job and they will help you promote yourself. You can probably, you might be able to find even more groups. This is me looking primarily in English.
Yeah, if I looked in Japanese, I'm sure I would find some. Although Japanese people don't use LinkedIn the same way that that we do.
I feel like they use Facebook more, right?
They do, yeah.
And so, like, I didn't find a lot. I did check on Facebook. You have the language exchanges up there, but like everything else that I was searching of in English, obviously, was more like people from English-speaking countries wanting to learn more about Japanese culture, etc. So I did find some language exchanges. They tend to be much bigger, you know, 46K, 32K, but how many of those are entrepreneurs? Probably a minority. So they're probably even fewer of your target demographic than 5K.
Well, and the reason they find a Facebook group is because that's free.
Right.
And so...
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. People looking for free support. You might find some people in there who want more, right? But like that's kind of where you would have some posts about like business English and you know, for and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. If you post, you might find some people, right? So it's worth experimenting. It's kind of where you're trying to find, when you're trying to fill out your client base, you're trying to find your niche. Like Japanese entrepreneurship seems to be a big thing, and niche is good. Like that is definitely like Japanese entrepreneurs looking to, improve their English so they can grow their business is a very like specific niche with specific issues, like you've talked about going to conferences, etc.
Yep.
And so it's just a matter of where to find them. And, some of these groups are going to be spot on, but try out some of these other ones. So I have that in our executive language coaching spreadsheet so that you can add to that, but I hope that gives you an idea of like what kinds of things to start with.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I think I guess joining them would be an action item if we're going daily, right? Like
join these groups and post like an intro.
Yeah, post an intro.
Yeah. And this is one thing where I also have to like calm my limbic system, because most of these groups, if I search them up in Japanese, they're going to be speaking in Japanese there. And I'm not particularly eloquent in Japanese. I'm communicative, for sure. But I don't sound as smart. Or I don't have the same language ability, which, again, I have to say, well, I say that doesn't matter to my clients. So again, I have to get over that myself. Well, but there's a thing about writing in Japanese in particular.
Well, I mean, if they allow video posts, do a video introduction.
Oh, also, yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, especially on Facebook. I mean, LinkedIn, I guess less so. I don't know if that's a thing on LinkedIn, but
I don't know. Minasan konnichiwa.
Yeah, exactly. So, so go ahead and do that. Okay. That would be like probably a good introduction. Yeah. I don't think so. Like when you're posting to Facebook groups, text, they say like don't text the same thing to the same group on the same day because you start to look like spam and Facebook notices. That makes sense. I don't know the extent to which they recognize if you upload the same video. So, it may be worth doing it like, especially if it's simple, like live each time, like a fresh take for each group. But you also may be able to get away with just doing it in general intro video and uploading it to multiple groups, or doing that on different days.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So
I like that. Okay.
Anyway.
Good action items.
Yeah, so that is our follow-up session for today. Sorry, I have not been checking chat, but that's okay. Since we just started, we had one viewer who viewed for 30 seconds this time, which is up from one viewer who viewed only for 11 seconds. We are improving. We are 3 times better today. So if we keep up this rate, I think we'll hit millions of subscribers by the end of the month.
So many.
All right. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.